time. We on.
Outstanding. Okay.
Oh my. Okay, folks, we're back. Well, we're on.
Yeah, give me a little bit, Dan. We need to.
Oh, so I'm not live.
You are live,
Oh, very good.
but I haven't shared it out yet. So we're going to give folks just a minute because I've not got it posted.
Oh, I see. Right. Yeah.
Post. How do I do that? I don't think. Dan Landi, view profile. I can't add your campaign. I can't follow you from your campaign page. Well,
I can't go to my campaign page and do this straight from the page.
no. No, your campaign page has
Oh,
to
because I
exist
don't
for
have
60
100
days and
people. Yeah.
100 days.
Okay,
Yeah.
that's the.
Okay.
Well, ain't that a shit?
Yep. Where to?
We'll talk to Trump about that. Maybe
Huh.
him and Musk can take care of that for me.
That's funny. Okay, well, you may as well go ahead and get started.
We're good to go.
Yep, so if, I've never done this before, so I'm guessing just kind of introduce yourself. And
Oh,
then
okay,
I'll
okay.
ask the first question and.
if we have any.
Right.
Hi, folks. Okay, I'm Dan Landi. I'm a school board candidate, and sitting with me is Heath Gilbert. He's the technical advisor and producer, you might say, of this program or this event, this Q&A. The reason we're doing this is very simple. I want to talk about issues affecting the Cameron School District. And it seems to be I'm the only school board candidate that really wants to talk about these issues. I've reached out to the other candidates, especially the incumbents, via email and via personally at school board meetings. And for years now, we've been after them to answer some of these basic questions. Can't get any response. And especially on the campaign trail, it seems like they just don't, I guess, care. They don't want to be. They don't, my opinion is they don't want to be cornered. They don't want to be forced, presented with a tough question and forced to come up with some kind of answer, which to me, it's no way to run a campaign. It's no way to even want to, to even properly serve your constituents, to serve the school district. I mean, hey, if you can't make a stand on a simple school board issue, then what are you even doing running? So that's why I'm here tonight. There's two ways you can get in and ask a question, and this will run for however long the questions come in. You can go direct on Facebook, ask me, type in your question, and get it answered that way, or you can email your question. I've set up an email account just for this. It's called Why Not Ask Now at yahoo.com. Why, W-H-Y, not, N-O-T, ask, A-S-K, now, N-O-W, at yahoo.com. Email me if you want to remain anonymous. That's fine. I don't need to know any names at all. I'm anxious to answer questions and be more than happy to explain to the folks, to anybody that cares, why I'm running. And I want the public to know because it's important. We're going to hopefully all go to the polls April the 8th. And, if you really care about the school district the way I do, these issues should be discussed. I mean, beforehand, not after the election, not when it's too late to, to maybe do something about it. So, folks, like I say, feel free. This reminds me of a thing I saw with, yeah, never mind. I'm getting sidetracked. But anyway, let me see. Like a Saturday Night Live skit, anyways. Yeah.
All right. Well, Dan, I've got the first question for you.
Oh, Wonderbar. Go ahead.
Well, I know the answer to this, but I know the community doesn't. Last year, there was an article that was printed in the paper that it sounded bad, talking about you and what you wanted to do with sports in the Cameron School. And right leading up to the election, there was a woman, and I forget her name, forgive me, ma'am, but she was terribly concerned every time she would see one of your signs that her children, or at least one of her children, is active in sports. And her post was shared quite a bit. There was a lot of comments on it. People were concerned or believed that you want to end all the sports in the Cameron School District.
Right, right.
And I want the people to hear your answer to that.
Sure. Hey, thanks for the question. It was a school board meeting a year ago, approximately. And anyway, yeah, the whole point in which this poor lady had missed was I was trying to make the point that the school district, in my opinion, the school district places a higher emphasis on sports, on sporting achievements than they do on academic achievements, and that was the whole point. I had mentioned at that time, that maybe, it's worth talking about. I mean, why not? I mean, everything should be on the table, possible solutions. What if we didn't focus so much on sports and put more of that emphasis on academics? So, I suggested that possibly the private sector could take over some of these sporting events, like it was just like like the Y has summer, football or whatever, different summer leagues and things. Why couldn't they do more of that? And the school do a little bit less of that, and devote more of that time and more of those dollars from the sports to academics, maybe, study halls or, I don't know, longer sessions, maybe hire some more teachers or pay them, some overtime to come in and do some more work with these students. It was just an idea. And I mentioned that at a school board meeting and people came unglued. I mean, the school districts are the sacred cow in the school, in the community. And I get that. And the sporting aspect of it, the athletics department is definitely the, hang on, she's driving me crazy. And once you start in on sports, it's like, lay off. That's you can't go there, can't do that. So I'm not trying to get rid of sports. They're beneficial in a lot of ways, and I brought that up at the school board meeting. I mean, kids learn so much from sports. They learn camaraderie, teamwork, self-confidence. There's a lot of good that come from sports. Let's don't get rid of it, but let's also don't make it our number one focus, in school. Paula Allen at a school board meeting brought up some great stats. 1%, well, don't quote me because I don't remember, but very, very small percentile of the kids that are playing that are star athletes in high school ever make it to the pros. I mean, it's like point something percent. It was minuscule. And if maybe just a little bit more than that go to college, but those college athletes, majority don't make it to the bigs. So so my point was, let's focus a little less on sports and a little more on academics. It was that simple. It was taken out of context, and I think deliberately by some to smear me, and because I was candidate last year running for school board, and it was a great way to twist my words out of proportion and maybe look like an a-hole.
Okay, I've got a couple of questions here from you that were submitted by the Citizen Observer, the Cameron paper, from Mark McLaughlin. There's two parts to question number one. I'm going to read these questions to you, and then I'll let you answer. What will your goals be if elected to the school board?
Well, that's easy. My number one goal is to encourage transparency. Plain and simple.
Okay. How much can you, as one person, affect the direction of the board, administration, and the school?
The direction, well, there's not a whole lot one person can do, right? You're a board of 7. It takes a majority vote to get anything done. However, sometimes just one dissenting person, or someone with that, that maybe has another idea, someone that's like, well, and I'll use me, if I were elected, maybe I wouldn't be that rubber stamp like they're used to having. Maybe, maybe I would at least want to put the brakes on some of this stuff and talk more about it. I definitely would want to drag the public into these discussions, because and this gets back to that transparency business. So much of what the school district is doing now, in my opinion, is being done without public scrutiny, without public participation, and I think that's deliberate. They don't want us to really know what's going on back there, and I think we need to be more involved, and that's how, through transparency.
Okay. Question number 2. If you could do anything to bring about resolution to the current adversary issues raised on books, transparency, etc., what would you do to make this better?
Say that again.
Okay. If you could do anything to bring about resolution to the current book issues.
Oh, okay.
Yep. Transparency, etc., what would you do to make it better?
Well, there's a lot of things to do, and not necessarily in this order. Number one, I would move to try to get the board to open up the libraries to the public, to the parents. That's something that we've encountered. They won't let parents in the library to see what books their kids have access to. Why? See, that makes no sense to me. What are you hiding in the library that you don't want the kids' parents to see? Another thing is, establish a policy. I would move for the board to establish a policy to that guides these books as far as bringing them in the school district. In other words, right now, currently, there is no rule, there is no policy per se that will keep these books out of the school district. I mean, yeah, we're finding them, here and there, but just as soon as we find one, there could be another one coming in that we don't know about because there's no safeguards there at the front door to stop these things. So I would move for that. I would also move for the transparency in the book review committee. I mean, we've challenged a lot of books, and they're supposedly looking into it, but we don't know what criteria that this committee is using to review these books. We don't even really know who's on the committee, and we don't know how they vote. Their vote, in my opinion, and according to how I understand state law, their vote should be public. But again, everything is secret. They won't tell us a thing. They seem like they're just trying to play hide the football. So there are a lot of things that could be done, but there's no will. Currently, there's no will to do those things.
Okay. What are some issues? I don't see any of the candidates other than you talking about issues with the school board. They run saying they love the school district, they have children, they're from the community, and those are all laudable things. Why are you running?
Easy. Because I think I can make a positive difference in the district. Now, that's a generic statement, but if you see the problems the way I see them, then you realize there's a lot of room for improvement. And some of the problems are, bullying. We know that's a problem. We've had parents talk about that to us before. There's been sexual assaults there at the school, reported anyway by parents. I'm not personally involved in any of that, but I mean, it's been reported by parents about that. It's the dirty books is a whole nother issue. And that's what really got me started. For the folks that don't know, I'll give you a little bit of history on that. I got started in this. I retired from the highway patrol, right? 27-year career. I was ready to hang it up. I was done. I just wanted to go fishing, and just take it easy and do my chores around the house and all that. I don't have children in school currently. I used to. They're grown. I don't have any grandchildren in the school district, but I live in the district. I pay taxes unwillingly, but I pay taxes to the district. And for years, I just thought that, okay, well, no bad news means that everything's good in the district. I didn't hear anything bad, but then, I wasn't tuned in either. Until one day, I found a dirty book list circulating on the internet from the Lee Summit School District. And I looked at some of those books, and I was amazed that that kind of filth was in any school district. Well, parents had found them and pitched a fit in Lee Summit. So I was curious. I had just retired. I found this list. Retired in January in 23, and I found this list in February. And so I brought it up to the school district, and they told me no. They told me they didn't have any of these books. But then I found a way to double check that. And I got online and I got into I didn't hack. Anybody in the public can do this. It's a program that they use called Destiny. Anyway, so it's a public deal. So I got on there and I started searching for these titles, and I started finding a lot of these books in their library after they already told me that they didn't have those. So that concerned me. And so that's when I started paying attention to what goes on at the school district. So I went to the next school board meeting, which was my first ever school board meeting back in March of 23. That was my first school board meeting. And so I went to the meeting and explained to the board, hey, this is what we found. We went to them for help, basically. Hey, you're the board. You're supposed to be in charge of the administration. Let's get to the bottom of this. Let's find out who dropped the ball or whatever we got to do to knock this stuff off. I thought they would jump at the chance. I really did. I really thought that the board, because I know a lot of these folks. I knew the president at that time was a friend of mine, Dan Kircher. And so anyway, I went to them for help, and they basically just paid us lip service. Me and Heath and Colleen and Paula and Travis, a bunch of us. And anyway, so the next school board meeting rolls around, and the first thing we notice is that there's new restrictions on us and the things that we can and can't talk about. So they started limiting our speech, and they didn't want to start hearing us read from these books because obviously they're nasty. Anyway, so that's how I got started in all this. It's been a struggle with the district ever since to get these books either yanked or either restricted, and they're not being transparent about it at all, and that's a problem. And so because of the book fight with the district, that's when we started hearing about, through other parents and such, about different issues going on in school: bullying, drugs in school, the sexual stuff. It's and then naturally the low. They come to find out, after all this, they're bragging about their ball teams, and I get that, but they're also graduating seniors that that can't hardly read and write, some of them. So anyway, those were the issues. Those are the problems that I identified. And I bring solutions. I've been to about almost every school board meeting. Heath and I, both have been to just about every school board meeting in the last 2 years. Heath more than me. He got started sooner than I did in this stuff. But anyway, so that's it in a nutshell. And because of the resistance that we had received from the school board at the time about these books. And then about these other things, hey, when we would approach them about this, that, or the other, hey, we heard about this. What can you tell us about that? And did you know about this? They became, it seemed like they just became indignant. They didn't want to hear it. And so I guess the old saying that, if you ignore a problem, it doesn't exist, seemed to be the attitude. It just, so it really fired me up to want to make a change. Okay. And, what's the other old saying? If not me, who? If not now, when? Right? I mean, somebody's got to do something about it. And so instead of looking around for somebody, to step up, I figured, well, heck, why not me? I mean, again, I've got time on my hands. I'm freshly retired. I'm a resident of the district, so I've got a voice and a dog in the fight. So why not? And so I ran last year, didn't quite make it, but hey, I'm running this year. We'll see what happens. The issues haven't changed for me. Last year's issues are this year's issues. It's the same old garbage. See, nothing ever changes with the current administration, with the current board makeup. They don't want change, and that's what I offer. I offer some change. I offer at least fresh ideas. You may not like them. Okay, they may, and Landy said, your idea sucks. So sit down. Okay, but at least let's talk about them, because I firmly believe there are good people on the board. But maybe they're afraid to stick their neck out. Maybe they're afraid to say something. Maybe they don't want to be the one to get criticized or to be told to shut up and go sit down. So, maybe if I, be that sacrificial lamb, maybe there's others that'll actually stand up with me. So I'm hoping to get elected and find out. And so, again, it's April the 8th. Vote for Dan Landi.
All right, Dan, you said something earlier when you were talking about the sports thing, that you wanted to make education a priority.
Sure.
How is the school district doing now when it comes to educating the kids? Do you have a position on it or any thoughts on that?
Yeah. The way I see it, the number one hindrance in a classroom is are distractions. You've got to eliminate the distractions. Now, whether that's an unruly child or phones or computers or whatever. I mean, whatever the distraction is, teachers don't deserve that. All right, they're there to do a job that they volunteered for, a job that doesn't necessarily pay the best, but they're willing to do because they love the kids and they love their job. Let's give them at least the opportunity to teach in an environment that fosters learning. Give them the tools that they need. They don't need the disruptions. They don't need the distractions. And so that's to me that's the root of everything. If you get rid of those distractions and those disruptions, the teachers will teach, right? They'll do their job. If everybody does their job in the whole system, it works beautifully. But to me, that's where the breakdown is, teachers are struggling. Hang on. Okay. Teachers are struggling to juggle all this, right? They've got timelines, they've got responsibilities, they've got goals, and let's make it easier on them. And I guarantee you this: if you do take away those distractions and disruptions, you'll guarantee you that the scores will improve, the proficiency ratings will improve. Heath Gilbert wrote a great article recently. It was on Facebook, on the forum, about that. He did a whole breakdown of DESE. He dove into the ACT scores from DESE, and anyway, I think from his reporting from DESE, from their statistics, Cameron rates at like a 43 percentile grade level proficiency in reading. So, I mean, it's, and if they graduate 90, I think the figure was 93%, seniors graduate with that, but only half of them basically, less than half of them are grade level proficient when they graduate. We're setting them up for failure if we keep doing that. I mean, how do we expect our kids our future leaders for tomorrow, right? That's what they are. How are they supposed to be successful with, when they enter the real world, with that kind of, handicap? So you get rid of the distractions and the disruptions in class, and I think that solves the problem, or at least puts a heck of a dent in it. Bullying, if bullying's a problem, okay, you get rid of the bully, right? You remove the problem from the situation. And I know that the school district may not like that. Kicking kids out of school. They didn't hesitate when I was in school, right? If you were a problem, out you go. They call your folks, come get you, and then let the parents deal with you. What was wrong with that? I don't know. Well, and back then we got SWATs too. So if you warranted a SWAT, then by golly you got it. So I know we can't do that today. It's too bad, but yeah, I don't know why the school district. You give these kids 3 and 4 and 5 chances in school suspensions, and look, if the kid's that big of a problem, God love you, but you got to get rid of the problem. You wouldn't put up with it in your own home, so why are you putting up with it in school?
Okay. Any other issues that you're concerned about with the district?
Well, yeah, yeah, I just can't think of them.
Teacher retention.
Well, yeah, but I mean, we kind of just covered that. I mean, teacher retention. There's a new bill too. There's something that was in the news recently about the state may be reworking the teacher pension. Did you see that?
I've not seen
Okay, yeah, yeah, which is supposed to help because that was the problem. It was all about retaining good teachers, quality teachers. Um, I know, I don't know what Cameron's rate is, and that's something I need to look at. But I mean, yeah, I mean, you can't afford to lose good teachers. I mean, nobody can. I mean, nobody wants to. We want to keep all the good ones. I mean, if you lose a bad one, then no harm done. I mean, you're doing yourself a favor. But to lose a good teacher, it's a shame, and it's someone else's gain. So we don't, speaking for a board member in a Cameron School District, a future board or potential board member, yeah, I mean, we have to do all we can. Now, money talks. I get it. Everybody wants a pay raise. I get it. But money is also finite. We can't print our own money in the school district, so we're reliant on the budget and grants and whatever else. But you know there are good teachers in the district, and I'm convinced of that. And so let's give them the tools that they need. Let's clear some of their classrooms of some of these distractions and see what they can do. And I'll tell you what, if you start seeing grades improve, then I think that really does warrant a pay raise, because you can't just keep throwing money at a problem and expect it to get better. Okay, so more money isn't necessarily the answer to the problem. It could be a reward for teacher performance. It could be a reward for increased academic achievement, but it's I don't think you should start throwing money at the problem. We've got to work on what the cause is, and I think distractions and disruptions are it.
Okay, I just got a text message from Travis. It says tax and bond issue. That's all I got.
Yeah, well,
So,
we can address that. How many years ago did they ask us for point whatever million dollars for a new performing arts center? It wasn't that long ago. And, my question is, did the school district know that they were going to need a new roof on the elementary school then? Did the school district know that they wanted to expand these, the different wings and rework these classrooms? I don't know that because they're not telling us. And either they didn't know or they do know and they just don't want to say. I don't know. I really don't know. But that's something that we should probably get from the district. I mean, answers that we should get, I think, before we start opening up our wallets. Now, we may not have a choice. They do. See, we voted no, just like the water thing, right? In the water pipeline in Cambridge, right? We voted no how many times? And we still got it rammed down our throats. I mean, I hope this doesn't turn out to be one of those things, and it might. But, again, it's Heath and I discussed this earlier too. Got to have a goal, and got to have a plan, right? Teachers in their curriculum, they have goals and they have plans, right? So why can't we do that on a bigger scale with a district? Have a goal, have a plan, and present that to the public before you go asking them for money. Don't we, the taxpayers, have a right to know what the heck we're buying? We do. And again, this leads right back to that transparency, lack of transparency issue that I think we've got at the school district. That's one more example of how they're not being transparent. It's crazy. So I'm not saying we don't need those things. There's always improvements needed, upkeep on everything, your house, your car, the school. But we got to be smart about it, folks, because money doesn't grow on trees, and we're taxed enough already. We all got nailed for this damn water thing, the water line. And so, the school district has to be responsible with our money and prove to me that you've got a plan. Prove to me that you can be trusted with that money. And so the only way to do that is to publicly, at meetings, hold special meetings, hold community engagement meetings to go over this. That way we can ask questions. We can, let me get off on a little sidebar here because you struck struck a nerve. Damn it, Travis. Okay. We've been after the school district to hold these community engagement meetings for Lord knows how long, for 2 years. State law mandates that school districts have some kind of policy in place where they directly communicate with the public, okay, aside from school board meetings. And so Cameron, has to abide by that law. And so they wrote up a policy saying that they will have a community engagement policy, which I don't think they do. They haven't shown it to me, and I've asked for it. And they haven't had any community engagement meetings, one in the last 2 years that I know of. And I know it because I was there. Heath and I were there. Here's the difference, though. A school board meeting is a one-sided conversation, right? They tell you in a school board meeting, and I really wish more people would show, even if you just sit in the back of the room and don't say anything. It's just you'll understand a little bit of our frustration. But the school board at a meeting sits on one end of the room behind desks, and then the public sits on the other side of the room in chairs. And the stated goal at a school board meeting when it comes time for public comment is Pam Ice will tell you, the school board president will tell you, they're there to listen. They're not there to comment, although they can ask you a question for clarification, but they're not really there to banter. They're not going to comment. They're not going to debate. It's for you to vent, for you to express your concerns to the district, whatever. I mean, and there's, you have to advise them of your topic, and you have to stay on topic. There's some rules that go along with that, but they're there to listen. That's the key. And so it's a one-sided conversation. You're speaking to the district or to the board. If you switch over to a community engagement meeting, now engagement, that's the key word because it's a two-way conversation now. It's a two-way street. You can ask them questions and they are supposed to respond back. That's the beauty of a community engagement meeting. That also might be why they've only had one in 2 years. Maybe they don't want to hear from the public. Maybe they don't want to be asked tough questions like the current candidates running for school board. Maybe they don't want to be put on the spot and have to make a decision about their opinion on this, that, or the other. The school board clearly does not want these community engagement meetings, or else they'd be having them. And that's the ideal place to have these discussions about the budget, about policy, things that affect the students, things that affect the school district. And again, it all affects us because you either have a kid in the district or you're paying money to the district. So we all have some sort of interest in what goes on there. So for them not to have community engagement meetings is outrageous, and it's what's the word I'm looking for? It's wrong. It's just wrong. So thanks, Travis, for that. But anyway, so yeah. I forgot where the hell we started, but I got on a rant.
Yeah. Did you talk? Well, I guess you kind of did about the bond, but it's hard to talk about the bond because
we don't know anything about it.
Right.
Yeah. And okay, as a school board candidate, okay, Landy, what do you think about this bond business, right? What? Well, I know the bond that they're talking about, but I don't know any details. Why? Because the school won't tell us. The district won't tell us. We've asked repeatedly about it. They won't tell us. Now, I think Dr. Robinson made a comment at the last board meeting. They're going to put something online or something. And I know that they've already come out with a little pamphlet. I've seen a pamphlet flying around that's got all the pros, right? None of the cons, but all the pros about why we need this bond, for this different school stuff. But let's have a back and forth. Let's talk about it. Okay, again, my ideas may be garbage, but at least let's talk about them. And maybe Landy does have a good idea here and there. Maybe somebody else has a good idea that the school hasn't considered, or maybe they don't. Whatever. You can what if this thing all night, but point is, they don't want to talk about it. What kind of school board does that? That's something I want to change. Community engagement, and transparency go hand in hand.
I'm active in the Cameron Community Forum, and I post quite a bit about the school district stuff. And something that I see often repeated is that you and I hate the Cameron schools.
Yeah, yeah. It's been said.
Do you hate the Cameron schools?
No, no. If I if I hated the school district, I darn sure wouldn't want to be part of it. Um, you know, yeah, and I understand why people think that, because people that don't know us, right? People that don't attend school board meetings, all right, they may, you watch certain clips or whatever on, whatever, and you watch our little 5-minute spiels. It appears that on these at these meetings that we're angry, and truth be known, sometimes we are. I'll speak for myself. Sometimes I am, because I have received so much pushback from the district, on simple questions about simple things. If they can't get a straight answer about something simple, then how are you going to get a straight answer about something difficult? And that's the problem. I get frustrated with these people, and so that's why I just chose to run, because maybe I can make a difference. Maybe there's only one way to find out, and so we're not angry per se. At least I'm not angry. I'm a very I'm a funny person. I'm a happy person. I'm a religious person. And so I don't have time to be angry. I get frustrated because we're being stonewalled by the district on so many things. And so that's where the frustration comes from. And quite honestly, folks, the way I see it, after fighting the school board on these different issues that we've already talked about, after trying to make some progress on those things and not having any success working from the outside, I thought, okay, I'll hopefully I'll run and hopefully get elected, and maybe I can affect change from the inside. It's worth a shot. I mean, and here's the thing. Bottom line, folks, I mean, this is a non-paid position, right? So none of us are getting paid for it. So speaking for myself, I've got the best intentions, and I'm not gonna, if elected, I'm not gonna start, being the great obstructionist or anything like that. However, I'm going to be hopefully be a breath of fresh air. Someone that's not beholden to anybody in the district, right? That nobody has any holes on me. I'm not beholden to anybody. They've got nothing on me. So what can they do to me, right? So I'm not afraid to throw a red flag up once in a while and say, hey, wait a minute, let's look at this again, or let's slow down, or let's consider these other options. Let's drag the community into this, and so I just want to be a voice for the people, for the public, because I mean, even though we're not paid as school board members, you're elected, so you're an elected official, right? The school is a governmental body, so shouldn't you expect out of me the same we expect from any other politician, the same that we expect from the president, right? I mean, it's sort of the same, people, elect you to do a certain job because they support you, they like your ideas, they want to give you a shot. And so, hey, if I can't change it from the outside, I'm going to work to try to change things from the inside. And that's why your vote is important. Right? That's why if you don't know the issues, if you don't know the candidates, how do you know who to vote for? So please, follow me, learn about me, learn what I'm about. I mean, hopefully you're on here, paying attention. So, why not ask now at yahoo.com? Ask me anything, anytime. I'm an open book. So we'll see what happens.
I got another text,
okay.
text here from
Lay it on me.
Travis. And I think I understand what he's asking. Travis, if I'm wrong, let me know. He's wanting to know, what are your qualifications to be in a position of leadership at the school board, to run for school board?
Leadership is not something they can teach you per se in any school. I think it's just inherent that, some people are natural leaders and some aren't. And I'm not really trying to toot my own horn, but it's true. I mean, look around. I mean, we all have them, in our families, in our churches, in our circle of friends, right? Some are leaders and some aren't. And not to criticize the current board, but maybe they do need some leadership. Somebody, again, not afraid to say something unpopular, that maybe goes against the grain or goes against tradition. Because how many times do you hear this? Oh, we've always done it that way. That's why hey, why do you do it this way? Well, because we've always done it that way. Well, maybe there's another way of doing it. Maybe there's a better way of doing it. So, anyway, so I spent my whole life in the military and in law enforcement. Right, 23 years in the Air Force, 27 years on the patrol, right? Discipline is part of who I am. I'm a strict. Ask my kids; they'll tell you I'm a very strict parent. And I believe that a school district is kind of like your extended family. Is an extension of your family. It's if you truly have the kids' well-being in mind. If you're their best interest at heart. Then you do look at them kind of as your kids. And I've heard a lot of teachers refer to them at school board meetings, my kids. And I get that. So there are our kids, even though they're technically not our kids, blood kids. So, you just, leadership-wise, being strict doesn't mean being hateful. It doesn't also equate to being mean. But again, this leads back to a lack of discipline in the school, and some of those distractions that I mentioned earlier in the classroom. Cameron, I know that I've read the Cameron student handbook, and there's a lot of things in that student handbook that aren't being enforced, or they're selectively being enforced. Dress code, for instance, the dress code. In the dress code, right, a student's attire cannot show any midsection, midriff, right? Has to be a full shirt, none of this halter stuff. Well, but yet at the school it was I don't know if it was FFA or.
It was a student award, I think, student of the month.
Yeah, it was right. Some event or some deal at the school, they took a picture of 3 or 4 female students, and some of them even had half shirts. But yet the school district plastered that all over put it on their Facebook page or on their website, gave it to the newspaper office to print, but yet it was a clear violation of one of the rules, a dress code. So if you want discipline in school, you have to be consistent, with the rules and be clear about the rules. And so I'm not saying that you run the place like a mini boot camp, but you've got to have rules and you've got to be consistent with your enforcement. And so anyway, that's something that I think I can help with. Again, and you would lead by example. If you hold yourself to a higher standard, then you hopefully others will catch on, and you can enforce the rules through respect because you are holding yourself to a higher standard. So I don't have a polished answer for that one, right? I didn't rehearse or anything, but leadership is inherent, and look, I've got what it takes, and I'm not afraid to say something that may step on someone's toes or may hurt someone's feelings. Not that I'm a rude person, not that I go around throwing insults around or anything like that. I don't, but you can't tiptoe around a lot of things either. There's a time for sandpaper and there's a time for silk, and you just have to kind of know when to use which. And I think I can help with that. I think I can provide some leadership on the school board for that.
Another thought occurred to me, Dan. Something else that I've seen people say about you, the books that have been challenged, they're saying you only have a problem with them because you're a racist, you're a homophobe,
yeah,
and you're a bigot.
Right.
Is that why you're challenging these books?
Well, no, no, and that's a good question because people do. I've had people, especially on Facebook, and good old Facebook. But what Heath is talking about, when we found these books, again, remember I saw a list circulating online, and you can't judge a book by its cover, and you sure can't judge a book by its title. And so some of these, The Bluest Eye, okay, right? That's a book that has been the Cameron High School has it. It is something that we challenge because it's a very disgusting book. But how would you know that by its title, right? The Bluest Eye. I mean, it sounds pretty pretty pleasant actually, until you get into the book. But anyway, so we're not. Yeah, and there's books that contain gay and lesbian content. There's books that contain straight sexual content. There's books that contain graphic violence, including suicide stuff. There's books that include drug use. There's books that contain foul language. I mean, like the F word and all that, right? Things that a student, the language is so foul in some of these books. If a student got caught saying those same words in the in the hallway, if they're having a private conversation with another student and they're throwing around the F-bomb and things like that, they would get in trouble for that if the rules are enforced, because that's against policy, the student handbook. But yet the student is allowed to go to the library and read that garbage out of these books. See, again, that doesn't make any sense. It shouldn't be allowed. Either it's okay or it's not. It's right or wrong. And so the same thing with the sex scenes that are in these books. I mean, the stuff in some of these books, and Jamie did a great job. The Clinton County Leader, Jamie Honeycutt, the editor, did a great job. He showcased some of these books, printed them in his newspaper, including some of the nasty excerpts out of them, because people didn't understand just how dirty these books really were. They thought Landi and Gilbert, were stretching the truth. We were embellishing. Folks, we didn't embellish nothing. Go see the Clinton County Leader. It's on Facebook. And go read some of these articles from Jamie Honeycutt. Oh, my. So the stuff that he put in the paper about some of the nasty parts of these books. Look, sex is sex, and it's one thing for an adult, right, to engage in that or to talk about that or to whatever. Okay, but we're talking kids, and that is the big difference. That is the only difference. Okay, I don't care what an adult does, at their home, or even really, I mean, what a kid does in their home is really not my business. However, at a public school that I'm funding, it is my business. And quite honestly, I mean, kids should be protected no matter where they are and no matter whose home they are in. I feel that these books are inappropriate, regardless of what kind of sex, gay sex or straight sex, or again, all those other, the violence, the cussing, what are those books even doing in our school? That was the question I've asked in the very beginning. Why are they even here? Who bought these books? What are the kids supposed to learn by reading these books? I mean, where is the educational value in these books? I mean, what, do you want? I mean, are you encouraging these kids by providing some of this stuff? Do you want a kid to commit suicide? I mean, because some of these books are about that. Do you want a kid to become a drug addict? Because some of these books are about that. So it's about what's proper, what's appropriate for minors. We're talking kids, minors, right? Under 18. And so while they're in the school district, we still haven't gotten an answer from the school board about that. Who let them in and why, we really don't know. Nobody's taken responsibility for that, and they probably won't, or at least they'll fight it tooth and nail. But we've, so it's because of that I thought, these kids, somebody needs to be an advocate for them. Somebody needs to protect them. And just because I don't have small children in school, doesn't mean that I should turn a blind eye. I mean, who's going to turn a blind eye to a kid that's getting beat by, whatever, out in public, whether it's by a parent or a babysitter or whoever, who's going to turn a blind eye to, physical abuse? Well, this is emotional abuse, in my opinion. This is mental abuse, in my opinion, these books. And so, anyway, back to the original question or the original answer. What was the question?
Are you challenging the books just because?
Oh yeah. Am I a racist? Right. Do I hate gays? No. And again, it's a free country, folks. Just because I'm a religious person, you don't have to be. Just because I'm straight, you don't have to be. It is what it is. But here's the problem. Again, adults and children are separate, right? Even the law understands that, right? Criminal law, right? You've got criminal law for adults and you've got criminal law for juveniles, right? If a child commits an infraction, which is, which if were committed by an adult would be a crime, then that child is referred to the juvenile authorities, right? They're treated differently because the society understands there is a difference between a juvenile and an adult. So I'm focusing on the juveniles. If an adult wants to do whatever on their time, let them, right? It's none of my business, and that's fine. I don't I don't want to know. But when it involves children, especially in a public school, then with my tax dollars, yeah, then it becomes my business. And so I'm just trying to protect the kids. That's how this whole thing started. But no, I don't hate gays, and I don't hate blacks, and I don't hate midgets, and I don't whatever. I just I'm not a hater. I'm not. I'm really not.
Okay. Well, we've been on for almost an hour now. Are you going to do any more of these in the future? Are you still going to take questions if people are just now seeing this video, they're watching it after the live stream is over? Are you going to do this again?
Yeah. Folks, remember why we're doing this, because I can't get any other candidate to stand up on a stage in front of a live audience and answer these questions. And it's a shame. We should, all the candidates, there's 4 of us, right? We should all stand together on a stage, good old-fashioned debate. Okay, like the president had it, right? The presidential debates, we all watched because we wanted to see what they're going to say, their stance on this and that and the other. And here's the thing: if I don't commit to a certain position, then how can I be held accountable down the road if you don't like something I'm doing? In other words, okay, if I say, okay, I'm Dan Landi, vote for me for school board because I love the Cameron School District, right? I don't tell you what I'm going to do. I don't tell you what I stand for. I don't tell you some of my ideas. And I get in there and, okay, say I'm elected and I get on a school board and now I'm dead weight. I just sit there. I'm a bump on a log. Okay. And then all of a sudden people are wondering, well, shit, I mean, why did we elect Landy? He's a rubber stamp. He just sits there. He doesn't do anything. He's not even engaged at school board meetings. We've seen that. We've seen that. So, how can I be held accountable? I didn't make any campaign promises. I didn't give any speeches. I didn't debate anybody and come, and criticize ideas, right? I went along to, go along to get along type deal. I just went with the flow. So it's a way of holding people responsible. When you make them commit to a particular ideology, a stance, a position on the issues, then they're locked into that. I mean, that doesn't mean you can't change your mind down the road. Hey, I may be wrong about something, some way I feel right now, and maybe I'll change my mind about whatever. Now I won't about the books, but maybe there is some things out there that that if someone comes up, presents a good case, makes a good case, presents some evidence, maybe I'm wrong, maybe I'll change my mind. But how will we ever know if we don't talk about that? And that's the one thing that really gripes me, as you can probably tell. Again, frustration, not hatred, but if I can just get the other candidates to stand up on a stage with me and talk about all these things that we discussed tonight. What's so hard about that? Okay, it may take a couple hours. Big deal. I mean, don't we owe that as candidates to the people who we're going to ask for your vote? Right? We owe it to you. We work for you. You put us in office. We are supposed to represent you. That's the way I look at it. Apparently, that may not be the way that others look at it, but that's how I feel. And so I'm telling you my goals and objectives. This, and this, and write them down. I mean, well, you don't have to. You've got video now, right? Evidence, right? So we don't. You can come back in a year if I get elected. Come back in a year and, hey, Landy, last year you told us you wanted to do this, and this. You've been quiet as a church mouse. Well, you don't even go to school board meetings. What the heck? So it's a way of holding me responsible. I think we should expect the same from the other candidates. Let's hold them responsible. And again, not out of hatred, okay? Not out of hatred. We don't have to hate people to disagree with them. But how can you solve any problems if you don't address the problems. And that's it, really, in a nutshell. Things won't get better on their own. You got to work at them. But again, where do you start? If you can't even talk about it, then you're just wasting time. Ta-da!
Outstanding. I don't know that I have any other questions. I didn't come very well prepared, and we've only had Travis comment. We have
Yeah.
several people that are watching. Thank you for
Oh.
watching.
Say hi to my sister and Travis.
Outstanding. And if you still have a question, and if you can get right on it, we'll answer it.
Well, let me check my email. Maybe somebody emailed me here.
Okay.
It was Alec Baldwin on that. He's a mug, but anyway.
He is a mug.
Nope, nobody emailed.
Okay.
But hey, anytime. Why not ask now at yahoo.com? Ask me a question. Okay, I'll give it to you straight. Hey, Vince is on. Good. So, and folks, and here's the deal. And I tell this to everyone. I don't necessarily have all the answers, but by golly, I'm willing to talk about it. You know, I mean, I'm willing to entertain other ideas. You know, may the best idea win. That's what it's all about. So that's what made America great. It's what can make our school district great, right? Make our school district great again. But anyway, so that's all I got. I mean, that's,
Okay.
hopefully this will be, well, hopefully we won't have to do any more of these. Maybe, I can convince the other candidates to meet me on a stage somewhere, and talk this over publicly, with a live crowd, live audience. If that's the case, I probably won't do any more of these. It won't be necessary. If I'm unsuccessful in getting the other candidates on board with that, then we'll have another one. So I'll as soon as I rack up some more questions, we'll have another one of these and see what happens. So, thanks for tuning in. I mean, it's we are not haters, folks. I laugh because to me it's such an absurd question or statement. It's an absurd thought. But I can see how people think that. I mean, we have gotten a little worked up at school board meetings, but I'll tell you what, folks, it is not out of hatred; it is out of frustration. I've written some articles about this, and Heath Gilbert has done a great job informing the public, because, quite honestly, we have become journalists. I mean, it didn't set out to be that way, but we have become that because everything that we learn, we post online, we write articles about, we inform the public. And so if you follow we had a Facebook page that got shut down, not pointing fingers, but whatever. Someone complained enough, I guess, and got us shut down. We were haters. And so we now are posting on YouTube, correct? Show Me Transparency on YouTube. Show Me, right? The Missouri State, Show Me State. Show Me Transparency on YouTube. Heath has done a beautiful job of posting videos of school board meetings, interviews, things like that for the public to see. Okay, again, it is a record. It is a record. It's indisputable, right? It's right there, not doctored. You can see it for yourself. And then the other, Heath has started a website. Correct me if I'm wrong on this, but it's CameronSchoolDistrictExposed.com. Is that right?
Yes.
CameronSchoolDistrictExposed.com. Go to that website. Tons of information. And just to prove that we're not making stuff up, Heath has got like page after page of references from doctors and psychologists and psychiatrists. I mean, they run the gamut, the medical gamut of professionals, documentation that they have written, reporting that the harm that when you sexualize a child, the harm that these dirty books are doing to the children, it's staggering. It'll blow your mind. So it's not just us saying it, right? we're echoing, professional reports, professional opinions. So anyway, Cameron School District Expose.com. Go there. It's got tons of information. Anyway, he's done a great job. Again, he's the technical guru here. But
I've got another question for you.
And yes,
I'm going to add a question to it, make it a two-part question.
two-parter.
How will you encourage more parents to attend the school board meetings, and why don't many parents currently attend school board meetings? Or more are attending now, but when we first got started, we were the only ones in the room.
Well, you can lead a horse to water, but you can't make him drink. You're right. Everybody's heard that one, and it's true in the school board business because, I'm as guilty as anybody because for years I've never been to a school board meeting. I mean, I've never been to a school board meeting until 2 years ago, my whole life, because I trusted these people, right? As we should. I trusted them, and I thought, okay, well, everything's fine. I haven't heard anything bad. That means everything's good. That's what I thought. And so it wasn't until I came across these dirty books that I got inquisitive. I got, I questioned things, and I felt I wasn't getting straight answers. And so that piqued my curiosity in this business. So anyway, how do you get more people involved? I don't know. I mean, we've done all we can do. We've tried to be the voice of reason. We've tried to be the voice of concerned parents that have come to us. Some people do come to us afraid. Some are teachers. Some are just parents with kids in the district. Afraid to actually come out and say this themselves because maybe their job will be jeopardized. Maybe they're worried about their kid's going to be harassed or whatever in school. I mean, there's a lot of reasons why people are afraid, and I get that. And not dogging them, but, so they come to us because we seem to be the town criers when it comes to this stuff, and that's okay. I mean, I don't mind that. I'm glad to be their voice. But, ultimately, we need people to step up. Especially if you're the one with a beef with the district, if you're one of the parents with a problem, that's directly affected, just know that we'll back you up. You're not going to be alone, and it's not as intimidating as people might think. I mean, look, the school board members are people too, right? Just like us. They're no better than us. They may have more education in, here or there or whatever, but they're just regular folks, just like us. So, there's nothing to be afraid of. Not there at the board. But people are busy. You don't have time. That was always my excuse. Well, I ain't got time for that. But I wish people would make a point. It's basically a couple hours on the third Tuesday of every month. It's not a huge commitment. And, and I realize some people, they say, well, why do I need to go when I can watch it at home on live stream? The school has recently started doing that. They didn't, I don't think they even thought about that until we got involved. Heath was posting it online, the school board meetings. He would record them and post them. Now, why the school wasn't doing that in the first place, again, maybe it leads back to that lack of transparency business. But anyway, so, yeah, I think that, parents are busy, and until something happens to their child or, until they're directly affected, they just think that everything's fine. But again, Jamie Honeycutt and Mark McLaughlin, the two newspaper editors, Clinton County Leader and the Cameron Citizen Observer, those guys have piqued some interest. I think they've sparked some curiosity in what's going on, because again, not everything is hunky-dory in the district. And that's, a big reason why the district doesn't want to talk about it. They don't want us to talk about it. They don't want people in town to talk about it because they don't want people to know that things are, messed up. So I get that. Nobody wants their dirty laundry aired in public. I get that. But the best way to keep that from happening is don't soil your clothes, right? Don't dirty your laundry. So anyhow, How do you get more people into the district? Again, you can lead them. Right, that's what we're trying to do. We're
Can
trying to
I
lead
ask
them.
another question?
Yep.
It's something that you said earlier, and I think is probably something that would help. You said that when you go in and you talk to the board, you say your piece and they thank you and you sit down and that's the end of the
Yeah,
communication.
yeah.
If there was actual dialogue between a concerned parent and the Board of Education, maybe more parents would come in.
Well, that's a good point. Yeah, yeah, because who wants to go there and and be a bellyacre and then just and then be scoffed at and only to turn around and leave. I mean it's because quite honestly, yeah, when we go to a school board meeting, I feel like I'm talking to a wall. I'm talking to seven stone faces. It's a shame. But yeah, and that leads back to community engagement, and it's exactly what Heath is talking about. You know, if the school district would engage the public like they're supposed to do by law, like they haven't done in the last 2 years, people would feel more open, more comfortable, coming to them with their problems, with their concerns. Why they shouldn't be coming to me with a beef with the school district. Go to the school district if But again, folks are afraid. They don't, because for whatever reason, and they also don't think they're going to get any resolution, right? So, yeah, if there's dialogue, if there's true concern by the district, then they'll sit there and not just listen, but they'll actually engage in dialogue. And here's another thing, folks. If it's a personal matter involving your child, yeah, you don't want that aired in public, and I get that at a public meeting. But there's closed meetings; they can hear your case in a closed meeting. No witnesses, no videotape, right? It's just you and the school district, and they're bound by law to keep that confidential, right? So, so you can have some assurance that that you can go and speak your mind and address your concerns in private. So there's where there's a will, there's a way, and I wish more parents would, um, but yeah, community engagement meetings are the answer to a lot of these problems. Because if you could get a straight answer out of them, again, you could pin them down. Hey, whatever. Why won't you let me in the school library to check out what my kids are reading? You know, in a school board meeting, you ask them that question, and they'll just look at you because they tell you we're not here to answer any questions. Okay. At a community engagement meeting, yeah, you stand there and expect an answer from them, and they're obliged to answer. And if they don't, then there's a real problem. So I don't know. I'm just saying that I think I could be a positive change. At least I'm going to try. That's more than what a lot of these people are doing right now. So it just seems to me that they're not trying, probably because they don't care. And quite honestly, look, let's face it. If it's not your kid, you really don't care. I get that. But I mean, nobody cares more about your kid than you do. But I don't know. Like I say, it is what it is. Third Tuesday every month for starting at 7 p.m. At the district main office on Chestnut Street. Yeah, it's open to the public. You don't even need an invite. It's free, right? It won't cost you a thing. Just come in, sit down in the back, be a mouse in the room, and just observe, and you'll see exactly what I'm talking about. And until enough people get fired up about something, nothing ever changes, right? I mean, that's the thing. Nothing will change until enough people get fired up. And so, hey, if I don't get elected, that means that there's not enough people out there that are fired up about this election. There's not enough people that really care about some of the issues we've brought up, and and that's fine. Unfortunately, these elections have become popularity contests in a lot of ways, and so if your family's got a certain last name, or if you own a business in town, or or whatever, you 20 generational farm type deal, these I forget what they call it now, but you've been in the area for decades or centuries. It's I get it. It's a popularity contest, and but do we really? I mean, it's what we've had. It's what we currently have. Do we want to continue down that path? I don't think so. I don't want to see that because, No one but me is really talking about these issues, and that's a shame. So we got to somehow light a fire to these people and get them to, at least ask questions. Ask a darn question.
All right, I got another question that popped up while you was talking. Something else that I often see, well, they accuse me this probably more than you, but because I have been critical of some of the staff and some of the issues that are going on in the district, they have made the claim that I hate all of the teachers. Do you,
Oh,
do
yeah.
you hate any of the teachers? Do you hate all of the teachers?
No, and that's a great point. Hate doesn't even factor into my vocabulary. Okay, I don't even use that word. I just don't, because I don't hate anybody. Okay, I dislike, and sometimes strongly, right, some of what they're doing, and I'll bring it right back to the books. There is no reason to give a child, some of these books with the content that's in them. There's no good reason. I mean, convince me, show me, prove to me that this has some kind of educational value. How does that support the teacher's curriculum? I don't get it. But enough of the books. But I don't know. I get frustrated again, and it's not from hate. And but I'll tell you what drives this frustration. There's no accountability in the school district, right? Again, back to the books. We don't know who, we suspect who's letting them in. We don't really know because they haven't said, right? We don't really know why they won't let us in the library to look for these books. We suspect because they're afraid of what we're going to find, but they won't even give us a straight answer. There's a lot of things that we suspect, but we can't really prove because they won't say. They're not being honest with us, and that causes frustration, right? How would you like to be lied to consistently? Nobody. Once is enough, but not consistently. And these are people that we elected to do a job, and we trust them with our kids. And if they're going to provide this garbage to our kids, and at the same time, celebrate a 43% proficiency rate, then we got problems. I mean, we got big problems. I'm not satisfied with 43%. I don't think the school district should be. They're taking victory laps because we're just marginally above the state average. We're in the top 50% of what the state considers good, but state's goals are so darn low that gosh, is that something to really celebrate? I don't think so. I think we should strive for more, so we can achieve more, and their bar is set way too low, in my opinion. But anyway, back to the hate. No, there's no hate. I just wish that teachers would be held accountable for their actions. That the administrators will be held accountable for their actions. Right? We're all accountable. School board members, right, are accountable because again, if you don't like what they're doing, guess what? You vote them out of office. You replace them. Why can't we have some of that with the administrators? Why can't we have some of that with some of the teachers? There was a teacher a while back that was Williams was his name, Mr. Williams. He was the teacher, and did, and there was some sexual stuff that he got busted or something. Now that's a gimme. That's an easy one, right? Nobody wants to be tethered to him when he goes down, right? So they cut him loose pretty quick, and that's good. Okay, but and not saying that there's anything like that going on now, not that I know of, but but when there's no accountability, you're setting yourself up for failure because eventually you're going to have another incident. When you provide these books to these kids, eventually you're going to have another incident because you're asking for trouble. And so why are we even going down that road? Why do we even run that risk? Why are we taking these chances? And so, again, back to order and discipline. If you run a tight ship, you're just going to be better off. You're going to, I think we'll see academic achievement. We're going to see teacher retention. There's a lot of good that comes out of running a tight ship, of good order and discipline. And that, back to the military, back to, to my highway patrol days. I mean, it's common sense though. It's common sense. And here's something else: cell phones. Oh my! I got crucified when I talked about taking the phones out of the school. But look, you cannot. I dare. Okay, here's a challenge for you folks. Okay, prove to me that phones are not a distraction. Prove to me. We see it behind the wheel when people driving. How many times do people sit at a green light on their phone? Right? Stopped in traffic at a green light changed, and they don't know it because their head is down in their phone. Right? How many people are walking down the sidewalk or walking in the street with their head down? I mean, there's cartoons about open manholes and such. I mean, just it's you think it's a joke, but it's not. We all see it, right? How much work actually gets done at the office, work, and how much of that is wasted time on cell phones? I'm telling you, folks, I'm guilty of it, right? I'm not casting stones, needlessly. I'm just saying it's a fact. I believe it's a fact. So if you can prove to me it's not, please, So anyway, so the point is, I made a comment at a school board meeting that we should reconsider the cell phone policy. That because they are a distraction, it's taking away teachers' teaching time, which is taking away student learning time, right? So it all makes sense to me, but why we can't even have this discussion? Why? Because the district doesn't want to talk about that. They don't want to enforce that rule because I think they're afraid of pushback from parents, pushback from students. Sure, there's going to be pushback, right? I mean, you try to take, candy from a kid, you're going to get pushback, right? But it's not appropriate in school, no more than than these dirty books are really. It's just there's a time and a place for a cell phone. In class is not one of those. And seeing this, and this gets back to something I saw this when I went for a tour of the new Performing Arts Center last August, I think it was. Well, a year ago, August. And anyway, it just opened up, and it's a $8 million project, and anyway, it's trust me, it's beautiful, state of the art, top notch. The Kansas City Symphony would be honored to play in our perform in our PAC, in our Performing Arts Center. It's that neat. It's gorgeous. But at the same time, did we really need to spend $8 million on that? Again, when we're graduating kids that are struggling reading and writing, it's about the priorities. But anyway, back to the cell phones. As I'm going through this tour of this guided tour at the school, they let you poke your head in the classrooms to kind of look around, see how they're set up, and it's typical classrooms, right? I noticed on some of the doors, but not all, but some, there were like these giant, they're like shoe holders, like in a woman's closet, right? Women keep their shoes in these things, and it's like a deal. It hangs on the inside of the door, but these are all numbered. And I asked about it, and they said, "Oh, those are cell phone pouches. Each child is assigned a certain number. That's where their phone goes. They're supposed to check in their phone at the beginning of class, and they pick it up on their way out." Well, but in practice, in theory, that's a good plan, but it doesn't always happen because they told me that it's optional. Some teachers enforce that rule, and some teachers don't. So depending on the teacher, right? I mean, it's that the student may or may not have to give up put their phone down in the class, and you can't tell me that when when a phone dings, right? How many times is it could be you could be in a room of people, 3 or 4 people down, their phone dings, and you look at yours because you heard a ding and you think it's your phone. Oh, I missed it. Think somebody, or it rings, right? How many times does the phone ring and it sounds like your ring, and so you check your phone? Oh, it's not me. Yeah, I do it all the time, right? I'm in Sutherland's or someplace shopping. Anyway, the point is that the rules aren't being enforced consistently, and therefore, again, it's just like a kid at home, right? One day you tell your child they can do something, the next day they can't. I mean, they're sending mixed messages. You're confusing the kid, making their life harder than it has to be. So why are we doing? We're setting up our kids that way. Why we do that at school? You either have the policy or you don't. And I would encourage, yes, I would, and so it's not Landy, what Landy says goes. It's let's talk about it. It's a thought, okay? If we're going to try to make a teacher's job easier and to teach and a kid's job easier to learn, we got to get rid of these distractions. Phones are a huge distraction. So anyway, so they didn't like to hear that at the school board meeting. I caught hell, big hell for that. Again, because what if there's a school shooting and my kid needs to call for help, or I mean, all these what ifs, and I get that you can what if that all day, right? But at the same time, more times than not, it's a distraction. If there's a shooting, right, they've got police officers, at the school anyway. So, I don't know. I'm not saying the kids shouldn't have a phone. I'm just saying that maybe you ought to leave it in a car. Okay, treat it like, cigarettes. Kids aren't supposed to have them either, but they do. They have them. Okay, but then don't bring them in school, right? There's no tobacco policy. There's no alcohol policy in school. So, leave that stuff either in the car, whatever, leave it at home. But I understand, you want, especially if your kid's riding a bus, you want them to have a phone. I get that. But, when you walk in the building, in a school, okay, it's a new environment. This is a learning environment. Okay, we learn here. So teachers teach, kids learn, no distractions. And so, to me, it's simple. I can't understand why I got so much pushback on that. It just, do we really want our kids to improve or not, our student competency?
Dan, I was at a board meeting, and I think this was before you and I met, so that would have been in 22. I recall Mr. Erdman coming in, and he addressed the board, and one of the things that he talked about was the cell phone, the new cell phone policy. I believe that he is the one that implemented that at the high school, and he was reporting to the board that productivity went up when they started making the kids put their phones in those pouches.
Oh.
So it absolutely was helping.
Huh.
And he told the board about it. I'm 98% certain, and I think that would have been, I think that was at the September 22 board meeting that he told them that.
Interesting.
So I believe the school or the principal would agree with you.
Yeah.
It would help in the classroom.
Right. So it makes you wonder why they don't enforce that, strictly. Why do they leave it up to the teachers?
And if it's in the student handbook that says that you can't have it in the classroom, how is it?
Well, and now I have heard that, some students are getting smart, right? They use a dummy phone to put in the pouch, and they keep their real cell phone, in their backpack or in their purse, whatever, and that way they can secretly in class, do whatever. And the teacher thinks that, that everybody's phone's checked in. But anyway, so I don't know. I just think we should talk about it. Where do the other candidates stand on that? I mean, it is a huge distraction, and that is indisputable.
5 of the current school board members were board members at that meeting.
Ah.
There's only 2 of them, Mr. Kircher and Mr. Wyckoff, that have left.
Right.
So 5 of the current board members were there, and they appeared to be happy to hear that removing the phones from the students in the classroom was helping with the productivity.
See, so, yeah, why isn't that something to celebrate? Okay, you're improving student learning. Why aren't we celebrating that? And why aren't we after more of that? I mean, good behavior. It's got good outcomes. And that should be emulated. That should be congratulated, and we should do more of it, right? More of the good, less of the bad. It's that simple, and I can't believe we're debating this, but we are. I mean, but we need to. We need to have this talk. Cameras in classrooms. It's another thing. I talked about it at a school board meeting. Some parents didn't want their kid to give up their camera or give up their phone in the event that, okay, well, what if there's a fight in school, or the teacher's picking on them, or somebody else is picking on them? They want to be able to record that incident, and I agree with that. Yeah, there should be some kind of recording of an incident that occurs in class, right? Because obviously if somebody's doing something wrong, that needs to be corrected. And, video evidence is the best, one of the best, really, I mean, the best kind of evidence. It's indisputable in most cases. So, I agree that there should be some kind of video capability in class. So why doesn't the school, and this is something I brought up to the board, again, it went down like a lead balloon, right? But why doesn't the school buy cameras for the classrooms? And this was my point. You've already got them on buses, allegedly. You've got them in hallways. You've got them in the cafeteria, in the parking lot, I believe. Maybe the gym. I mean, there's lots of places in school that they have cameras, but not in the classrooms. And to me, that didn't make any sense. Why not? It's not a money thing. The way they throw around money, they 8 point whatever million on a performing arts center, and you can't buy $30,000 worth of cameras. See, I don't get it. So one of the excuses that I heard was, oh, well, Mr. Landi, we can't do that because privacy, student privacy and all that. That was the excuse from somebody there at the board. I don't remember who said that.
IEPs.
Yes, the special ed kids. Oh, we cannot. They've got privacy, special privacy, whatever. We can't divulge, who's got an IEP, and that's true. I mean, yeah, they're not. I mean, that is extra sensitive, protected information. Okay, but here's the thing: you can set up a camera system, right? That's not live. That doesn't, that someone from the outside can't hack into. It's closed circuit TV, is what it is, right? A lot of places have them. It's nothing new, right? But technology's been out forever, and then, if there's something sensitive on there, right? The school district has control of those cameras, the videos, right? They can censor that stuff out if they need to, right? It's not like it's going to divulge anything. I mean, they control what gets divulged and what doesn't. Something on video gets captured on film, but it doesn't have to get divulged. And so they control all that. So it shouldn't be a problem. And I thought, okay, what a better way to encourage people to give up your phone, and parents don't have to worry about their kids because now they're being watched in class. And to me, that makes sense because that should discourage bad behavior, I would think. And I'll tell you this, if we had cameras when I was in school, I would have behaved differently. I guarantee you I would have behaved differently. Because you knew that, you're going to get busted, and, who wants to get busted, right? So, I don't know. Again, why the teachers aren't pushing that, I don't understand. I mean, I would think it would make their jobs easier. Plus, it would protect the teachers. How many kids go home and tell their parents the teachers were mean to them, or the teacher said this, or teacher? I'm sure the teachers face a lot of accusations throughout the year from students or from maybe other teachers. I don't know, but if things are recorded in the classroom, right, that should dispel whatever rumors may be going around or whatever accusations may be. I would think that would protect the students and the teachers. Protect everyone involved. And so to me, it's a win-win. You put the phones in the cars and you put cameras in the classrooms, and and everybody does their job. Teachers teach, students learn. That simple. Teachers teach. Riders right. Throw mama from the train. Yeah.
Right.
Riders right. Teachers teach.
And doesn't that go back to your point that we need to increase the grade level proficiency, and if there's a camera in there and it helps to cut down on the behavioral issues,
Of course.
that there would be more education that would be happening?
Oh, of course. That's the end result, right? We want to turn out more proficient, smarter, right? However you want to word it, right? Brighter children, brighter students, kids that are ready to either go to college or go to work, I mean, because they're either going to do one of those two things, and or join the military, but that's going to work. So, we're not doing them any favors by taking the easy road, taking the easy way out, path of least resistance. We're not doing them any favors. And it's just like parenting kids. And again, I come from a strict family. I was a strict father. That's how I view things. If I'm wrong, hey, let's talk about it. Maybe I'm too hard. Maybe I am my kids will tell you that. Oh, Dad was a hard ass. But, but if you love your children, a good father is going to be strict, and out of love, out of concern. And I think that's, and I'm not saying that the current board members don't love the kids, aren't concerned about them, but their behavior, the board members' behavior makes me wonder. If you really loved your kid, would you let them do it? Wouldn't you strive to improve their education? Not their educational experience, which is something that they like to brag about. We want them to have a good educational experience. Well, no, not really. I mean, yeah, we don't want them to have any problems in school, but the emphasis should be on education, not experience. And that was my whole point back then when I used to harp on that. But anyway, folks, you're getting both barrels tonight. I'm just telling you, you got me started. This is me, and this is what I stand for. And if you like it, great. If you don't, let's talk about it. I mean, I'm easy to talk to. I'm easy to get along with. Meet me at Kingdom Coffee. We'll go have some coffee. Dino's is someplace. Wendy's. Well, it doesn't matter. We'll go have coffee. We'll sit down. We'll talk. I am not a hater. Heath Gilbert is not a hater. We want what's best for the school district. However, we've been fighting this garbage for 2 years, and we see very little progress, and that's got to change. So I'm running. We're going to continue to expose the garbage that we find. We're going to air some dirty laundry. Hey, sunlight is the best disinfectant, right? And so that's the goal. That is what my goal is, a potential school board member. And even if I don't get elected, folks, I'm still going to fight for the kids. I'm still going to fight for get these darn dirty books out of there. They shouldn't be there in the first place, and so there shouldn't be any reason why we can't get rid of them. Where there's a will, there's a way. I've said that 100 times. That's my go-to phrase, because it's true. If you want to do something, you will. You'll find a way to do it. Where there's a will, there's a way.
Can they get rid of them, the school board?
Sure they can. Well, the law allows it. Supreme Court said so. Pico, is that the case? In Iowa.
The Iowa, I don't know, but Island Tree is one of them that says that so long as the restrictions are content neutral.
Right, right. The law, the Supreme Court has ruled, because this has been challenged, right? It's gone all the way up to the Supreme Court about the books. Schools wanted to get rid of some of these books, but then the gay right groups or whoever would come in, the ACLU would say, oh well, you can't do that because you're just discriminating against gays or whatever, and so as long as the school district, and this is according to the Supreme Court, as long as the school district doesn't just get rid of the gay books, you get rid of all the sexual books, not just gay sex, but straight sex, whatever. You get rid of all the sexual books, then you're in the clear. The school district has nothing to worry about. They've got the law behind them. Okay? So if you're going to get backed up by the law, what are you worried about as a school district? What are you worried about? Why can't you do what's right for the kids? Maybe, just, I'm just asking, do you want these kids to have these books? Apparently somebody does, or this wouldn't be an issue. They wouldn't be in our school. Somebody wants our kids to have these books. I'd like to know who, right? They should have to answer for that. Should be accountable for that. If the majority of people in Cameron think that it's inappropriate, then I wish they would, vote for me. That's how you can express your displeasure. Vote for me if you don't think we should have these books. Vote for me if you want transparency, because that's what I'm working for, not just in books, but in all things. We work for you. School board works for us. I put it that way. I'm not a board member yet. School board works for us, and so they owe us some answers, not just about books.
I got a question here for you.
Question.
Are you willing to, and are you allowed to engage in conversation with a parent or a taxpayer at a board meeting? I'm assuming, implying a board member. Are they allowed to engage with parents or taxpayers at a board meeting?
Are board members allowed to communicate?
Yes.
At a board meeting?
Yes.
They're allowed. they could do it if they wanted to. There's no law that I know of that says that the board members can't engage with the public. Here's the hang up. Board members can only speak for themselves. They can't speak, individual members can't speak for the entire board. The entire board has to vote as a body to pass any policy or enact any plan or anything like that. Form any committee, they have to act as a body. So they have to have a vote, right? So, and majority rules. But any board member can speak as as an individual, and they should. It shouldn't be. It's an us versus them thing right now. They're the board, and we're the public. But there's like a wall there, and they put this wall up. It's like it's the barrier. They don't want us to cross it. Well, look, I'm telling you, folks, if they don't look at it the way I do, they don't realize that they work for us. They don't act like that. They don't have that mentality. They don't have that mindset. For some reason, they got elected, and now they think that they rule over us, not that they work for us. They don't represent us. They rule over us, and that's at least that's my interpretation of their mentality, because that's how I've been treated at the board meetings.
Okay, I'm going to ask a question and then read one. If you were elected to the board, do you have any power to force change all on your own?
No, and it just goes back to just what I said. One person is one vote, right? Again, we have to vote on all this stuff, right? Vote to pass a spending bill or a bond. We have to vote to enact a policy or to change a policy. We have to vote to hire and fire, to approve all that. So, it's all by vote, majority vote. And so one person is one vote. One vote cannot in its own self change anything. One vote, though, can possibly lead to two votes, right? Two votes can maybe lead to three. And then once you get that 4-vote threshold, now you've got a majority, right? 4 votes, because there's 7 members, 4 is the majority. So one vote by itself doesn't really do much. It's symbolic, okay? If there's 6 votes one way and then 1 vote the other way, then all that really shows is that one person didn't agree with the rest of them and it could be about anything, okay? There's nothing. Why do those? Every vote that I know of that they've taken has been unanimous. I don't know of any vote, and please, if someone knows one that I don't know about, please let me know, because I'm legit. I don't know of any vote that was ever taken by the school board that was not unanimous. Think about that.
I've never seen a no vote.
It's lockstep. It's these are all different people from different backgrounds, different whatever. You tell me they all think alike? They all think the same? They don't have differing opinions? I don't buy that. But for some reason, they all go along to get along, and that's how we get a water line, right? That we voted down twice, but we still got it rammed down our throats. Now our bills double. That's how you get all these problems in school or in any organization, any business, right? When you get that groupthink, when you get that lockstep, no independent thought, you've got problems. And it's only, and it won't get better on its own until something happens, to change it. So I hope I can be that change, that factor for change. We'll see.
Okay, a statement and then the question. They're saying some parents have justifiable reasons to speak about concerns their children are going through. Will parents be able to have a conversation with you? Assuming that you were elected to the Board of Education.
Yeah. And now it's easy to say, okay, because we've heard that same thing too. We've heard the board will tell you, hey, if you have a concern, they'll tell you this at a board meeting. Any concerns you have, feel free to email us anytime just anytime. You can email them, right? And they provide an email address. You can call the school district. You can talk to the secretary or the superintendent's office. And I haven't really dealt much with the principals one-on-one, but I'm sure if you had a problem in the school, you could talk to your principal about it. The leadership of the district, they all say that, just let us know. We'll get, we'll be glad to talk to you. Well, from my experience, no, they're not glad to talk to me. They don't want to talk to me. And because I think they know what I'm going to say. It's not always pleasant. Again, not hateful, right? No haters here. But some cold hard facts, some honesty. Sometimes the truth hurts. So, if I'm elected, I'll make that same promise that they've made. Only I'm going to intend to keep mine.
Dan, let me interject here. You're currently doing that. We currently have parents
Well, that's
that
true.
are concerned that we're talking to and we're trying to help. We're bringing
That's true.
Like when you addressed the board about drugs in the high school, it was because a parent came to you concerned about drugs that are being smoked in the high school.
Right. That's true.
So you're already doing it.
Right. Yeah. Good point. And I don't mind being a voice for concerned parents, for people who, for one reason or another, don't want to go public with whatever their issue is. I don't mind, but just know that the problem is it's just hard to make change, to affect change from the outside. That's that if I'm elected, then I'll have a better shot at influencing the other board members, to do things differently. So again, that's the whole reason why I'm running, because the changes that we just talked about that I think need to be made. Maybe I can convince some of the other board members. Again, I'm one vote if I'm elected, but all I need is 3 more. Pull them to my side, and maybe things will change. No promises there. I mean, I can, one person again can only do so much, but the only promise I can really make to folks is that I will try. So give me a shot. I mean, and if I don't hold up to my my end of the bargain, then there, you can vote me out of office. It's that easy.
You said that you're willing to help the parents, the taxpayers, and the students. How about the teachers?
Yeah. See, and that's another misconception. I don't have it out for teachers. I used to be a teacher, a substitute teacher. Now that's a big difference than a regular teacher. But I have a little bit of insight. I kind of know what it's like inside a classroom. And I know, how unruly some of the kids can be. The students. I get it. And kids are kids, no matter where you are, no matter what, no matter what. They're just kids are kids, and we were all kids once, so I get it. But this isn't a dig on the teachers. You're asking a teacher to do a near impossible job, and that's the problem, because they've got, again, all these expectations on this end. They've got lesson plans, and they got deadlines, and they got all this testing and all this, and so they've got a clear goals and objectives, and a certain amount of time to get them all accomplished, and so they're under the gun. I get that. I completely understand that. So, my proposal: let's simplify their job. Let's make it easier for them to meet their goals. Okay, by getting distractions and disruptions out of their way, out of the classroom. They don't need that. They don't deserve that. They didn't hire on for that, right? I guarantee you, teachers are like police officers, right? You do it because you love it. You don't do it for the money, because there's no money in it. And there's darn sure no, I mean, there's plenty of headaches, but the reward is, is what you feel. It's not what goes in your pocket. The reward is here, and policemen, I can speak for that. To help somebody in a crisis situation, there's, or especially if it's like a car crash or something dangerous, something, life or death. I mean, to know that you've made a difference in somebody's life it's indescribable. I mean, that is pure joy, and that's what teachers feel when they see the light bulb in a kid's head come on. Because I experienced that as a sub. Kids learn at different rates and different ways, and and some are, just it takes a little bit extra, right? I was one of those kids, right? But when the light bulb comes on, you can see it in their face. Oh, I understand. I get it. I understand. And that's a small success, and but it's a good feeling, because you accomplished your mission for that day, for that kid. Now they're on the right track, and so. It's we got to have more of that. And how do you get more of that? You get rid of the distractions and the disruptions. Get them out of there. The teachers don't deserve it. They don't need it. They didn't call for that. They didn't sign up for that. And it's not, again, it's not just the teachers, but it's the students. And who are we there for? Ultimately, the students. You know, and tell me that a parent's not going to appreciate that. You know, unless it's maybe their kid causing the problems, but still, you know, you send a kid home, get him out of class. If he's causing problems, then let the parent deal with it. You know, I'm not, and I'm not saying be hateful about that. There's a right way and a wrong way to do that too. Okay, call the folks, have the folks come up. And this is all, subject to discussion. But do you give the kid a chance? Give him 2 chances? I mean, strike 3, you're out. I mean, I don't know how far you go with that. But again, we'll talk about that. But but you can only go so far. You cannot let a kid constantly disrupt a class because, again, other kids see that kid getting away with something, and guess what? Next thing you know, they're trying it. Okay, and it only gets worse. And so, case in point, smoking dope in the boys' room, right? Smoking marijuana in school, right? It's no secret. It's happened. The schools admitted to it. They know about it. So, but what do you do about it? What are they doing? Are there bathroom monitors? This is something else that we've approached the school board about.
Bullying in the bathroom.
Yeah, and bullying a kid goes to the bathroom. It shouldn't be hassled by anybody in there. That's private time, right? We've asked that there be bathroom monitors. They're supposed to be, by I think the rules, the policy says that there's supposed to be teachers that roam the halls or monitor that, that kind of stuff. But from what other sources, other people that have talked to us said that that's not happening, at least not on a regular basis. And you know that because kids wouldn't dare go in there and smoke marijuana in the bathroom knowing there's a teacher standing right outside in the hallway that can smell it. So if there's no teachers, then, when their cat's away, the mice will play, that kind of thing. So, again, it's common sense stuff, folks. That's all I bring to the table is common sense. You see, I don't know where it went, why the current district doesn't employ common sense. Surely they've got common sense, but Lord knows where it is, or why they're not using it. So maybe I can help. Well, I'm going to give it a try. Put it that way. I'll give it a try. And if my dear mama was listening now, she'd be like, common sense? That boy's talking about common sense.
Yeah.
Shit. Oh, mama. But anyhow, folks, what we're talking about is very simple stuff. It's just like you're raising your children. If you wouldn't let your kids get away with that, then you shouldn't let other kids, get away with it. And plus, you're talking about a school. So, again, one kid misbehaves and gets away with it, it's going to lead to more misbehavior. It's society teaches you that, right? I mean, everybody knows that. So it's not rocket science. It's common sense. It's very simple stuff. If we can't do the simple stuff, how are we going to do the hard stuff? I'm just saying. And I don't have all the answers, but I'll tell you what, let's start simple. Let's start with the easy stuff that we can fix right away. Okay? We'll get to to the academics, we'll get to the reading, writing, arithmetic, That's going to come up, and success leads to more success and more success. It builds on itself. And so, but you got to get that ball rolling. You got to get it started. And I say it starts in the classroom. And the teachers are key, but we've got them burdened down with too much garbage. And again, distractions, disruptions. Get rid of them.
Outstanding. So let me ask a closing question then, unless I didn't see any more questions. What would be your priorities within the district? What would you like to see changed? What could be better?
Well, exactly what we just talked about. As a board member, okay, transparency is paramount. Okay, the public has to know what the board is doing. Now, there's some things there's closed meetings and open meetings, right? Certain things that the public isn't privy to because of privacy rights, and I agree with that. Okay, hiring and firing. Okay, that the public is not privy to those things, right? The kids with learning disabilities and things like that. Okay, that's nobody else's business. Okay, so that's all private matter. And so the public's not privy to everything, but when it comes to policy, when it comes to spending money, we darn sure, curriculum, right? Don't we have a say in what our kids are learning in school as parents? You know, shouldn't we be involved in that discussion? So, folks, I'm just telling you, transparency is paramount because all the other things fall under transparency. I mean, if you've got transparency, then all the other problems are less. You're going to have less problems. I mean, all the other things just kind of just melt away because with more transparency, you're going to have accountability because you can't have accountability without transparency. You've got to know what's going on before you can actually fix it, before you can hold someone accountable, before you can change it. You've got to know that there's a problem. You've got to acknowledge the problem. And so everything else will fall into place, fall into line if you're transparent. And I'm telling you, and it's not just a courtesy, it's a requirement. The school district owes it to us. It's our money that they're spending. It's our facility. That's not theirs. It's ours. But yet they tell the parents we can't go in the library and see what books that the kids are reading. We can't go into an open house and question the teacher about curriculum. You see what I'm saying? Folks, things are so messed up that if you had transparency, I think that would be the first step in the right direction, and then the rest of it will fall into place. So that right there is enough for starters. But again, ultimately we want to have a more educated student, right? Academics is that's the business that a school is in, right? It's not for sports, although sports are nice, sports are fun, right? But you don't send your kid to school to be a star football player. I mean, maybe he's good, maybe he's on the varsity team, maybe he's a star player, but that's not why you're sending him to school, right? I mean, don't you want the kid to actually get an education, reading, writing, arithmetic, right? That kind of stuff, meat and potatoes of school education. And some teachers say, well, that the parents are, it's the parents' job and blah blah, and that's true. I agree completely. Okay, but as parents, right, we trust the school district, right? We trust that the teachers and their what's the word I'm looking for? We trust that they're going to make good decisions, that they're going to do the right thing by our kids, and not just in education, but protecting our kids. And again, this leads back to the books and all that. But anyway, parents have to trust the school district. Well, with some of the things I've been hearing from parents directly involved in this, there's a lot of mistrust in the district, and we've got to. The only way to fix that is to expose, right? Sunlight, transparency, expose all this garbage, air it out. We'll clean it up, and we'll press on. Okay? You can't dwell in the past, but you've got to acknowledge your mistakes. You've got to acknowledge that there's a problem before you can fix it. So that's my answer. I mean, I don't have all the answers, but I will try. And transparency is paramount. And community engagement is paramount. So if I had to just pick top two, community engagement and transparency. The rest of it, again, falls into place. Rest of it is small potatoes.
It would solve a lot of the issues that I've
Sure
been
it
on
would.
the board with.
Same here.
Yeah.
Of course it would. So let's see what happens, folks. Vote Dan Landi, April the 8th. It's on a Tuesday. Anyway, and here's something else. You don't have to have a kid in school to vote. A lot of people, and I was one of them. Again, I just turned a blind eye to the district because I didn't have children in school. But as you can see, I'm pretty tuned in now. But if you pay taxes to the Cameron School District, then you are eligible to vote for school board. And I hope that you do. Even if you don't vote for me, at least get involved. At least whoever you like, whoever your favorite horse is in this race, ask them some questions. If it's not me, that's fine. But ask them, explain to them what your concerns are. Ask them what their solutions are. We've got to have some serious discussions about this stuff. And if they won't talk to me, maybe they'll talk to you. So ask them, talk to them, see what they say. Again, and I know it's a popularity contest, and I get that, and that's fine. I may not be the most popular person in town. Matter of fact, I don't think I am. But that's okay. You know what? I've got thick skin, and you can say what you want about me, and that's fine. But speaking for myself, I'm not a hater. I'm not a racist. I love midgets. Just saying.
That's
I'm just, I do. Little ones, yeah, I like them. So anyway, that's it. That's it, folks. Golly, we've been on for a while.
Yep, about 2 hours.
Okay.
Let's do this again. Hopefully we'll get some more questions, and I think that this is fantastic. I think that people need the opportunity to be able to ask questions and to address their concerns and hear where you stand on it. And if you guys don't agree, then that's fantastic, because they know that this isn't the guy that I want to vote for.
Right.
But you don't know if you're not given the opportunity to ask. We've got some pretty important issues coming up at the school district, and it deeply concerns me that nobody, well, one candidate is, but the other ones don't want to answer some relevant questions.
Sure. Well, you can lead a horse to water, right? But anyway, thanks, folks. Thanks very much. God bless you, right? God bless the kids. Go to Facebook, check out the Clinton County Leader, Jamie Honeycutt's paper, and the Cameron Citizen Observer. It's Mark McLaughlin's paper. Check them out. They're doing a great job bringing some of this to light, sharing this information. And it's beautiful because it isn't just Dan Landi or Heath Gilbert, stirring the pot, right, trying to raise Cain. These guys do their homework, right? I mean, not that we don't, but they do their homework. They wouldn't dare put it in print if they weren't positive, if they weren't confident that they were telling you the truth. So, I believe they're honorable men. I believe they're honest men. I'm not putting them up to anything, right? They don't work for me. I haven't paid them a dime. But I am so thankful for them, because we didn't have this last year when I ran. We had a newspaper editor who smeared people he disagreed with, namely me and Gilbert. He obstructed a lot of the truth, wouldn't let the truth come out into the public forum. Even on Facebook, some of the stuff that we had was censored. So anyway, kudos to those two gentlemen. Please go to the newspapers, Citizen Observer and the Clinton County Leader, and learn the truth for yourself. Do your own homework. Call the school district, 816-632-2018.
It's not 632 anymore. It's something
Oh,
else.
okay. Disregard. I'll have the number next time for you. But call the Cameron School District. Ask for the superintendent. All right? Ask them these questions. Remember, they're in charge of the kids. They should be able to answer whatever questions you have. And if they don't know, they'll get back. They should be able to get back with you. Okay, I don't know that answer. I'll find out. I'll let you know. How hard is that? We have to ask questions, even if they're unpleasant, even if they're tough. So keep in touch with me. I'm easy to find. Private message me on Facebook. What was my? I done forgot that website already.
We need more people to follow your campaign page.
Yeah.
They need to follow. We're going to be posting. You're making videos now of random thoughts that come to you about the school district. You're going to be posting those there, and maybe if people give you a really good question that is thought provoking, you could answer their question in a video, and they can catch all of that on the campaign page. So they need to follow your campaign page, which is what?
Dan Landi for Cameron School Board. Yep. Dan Landi for Cameron School Board. Why not ask now at yahoo.com? Why not ask now? Anonymously if you want. Ask me anything. Anyway, so thanks, folks. Thank you very much. Thank you, Heath Gilbert.